11 o'clock, now 2 minutes we have. Shall we start or we'll start at 11 o'clock?
I think everyone...
We are on time.
before time. I am audible?
Yes sir. You used to mute your microphone. Now starting with the context of discussion today, we are facing VUCA situation. That is volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity. The whole world is facing never before situation due to coronavirus pandemic. Day by day cases are increasing across the world and India has been managing very effectively by announcing lockdown early compared to other countries. And we are now in lockdown 3.0 and looking forward to lockdown 4.0 with a big stimulus package of 20 lakh crore, which is 10% of GDP of India, by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi to create self-reliant India, to support Indian industries, especially MSMEs with Make in India, Made in India and Vocal for Local programs with the 5 pillars including economy, infrastructure, technology, demography and demand to strengthen labor, land, liquidity and laws. Coming to higher educational system, educational institutions around the globe are disturbed and India is not alone. COVID-19 had done the impossible. Universities and schools across the country have been closed since March 16. It has changed the way we teach and learn almost overnight. These include online teaching by universities using existing e-content available on various sites and mapping them with their own courses, using Moodle to create their own courses, reworking on pedagogy, process, assessment, interaction, and in leveraging on the digital India and tech-savvy millennials. COVID-19 gave higher education the opportunity to challenge assumptions and should be the catalyst for change. What happens after COVID-19 will depend largely on what institutions do during COVID-19. Higher education should not assume it will have the luxury of returning to business as usual. The COVID-19 pandemic is set to change the world sooner than we know. The way our governments, institutions, organizations and people think and function will radically change. Desperate times call for desperate measures. New seating matrix, staggered classes, different mess and library rules, revamped hostels and canteens could be part of students' social distance lives in schools and colleges when they return. Coming to business education, it has affected the placements, internship opportunities, interface events, admission, consulting and research. COVID-19 crisis is forcing business educators to critically question their syllabi. What stood 6 weeks ago is unlikely to be the case today. The role of business as a contributor to society will be re-examined. In particular, we will rediscover the importance of businesses providing jobs to people, not just returns to shareholders, but also business classrooms will debate what is an essential service. Social distancing is prompting business schools to rethink how they are connecting with stakeholders. Human strength comes from diversity, ideas, systems, economies, people. Business education syllabi will need to evolve to provide such diversity. Spatial connecting is becoming the new norm, where the blurring of physical but virtual interaction is likely to continue. Uncertainty is everywhere. The teaching of how to manage uncertainty will increase, but as a field of expertise no longer owned solely by financial modelers, sentiment scrappers and other data scientists. Virtual and remote education will continue to increase. Micro classes will become popular. Schools will form more partnership with tech companies to improve their current capacity on infrastructure and content, change in offerings such as format, content or in-store. Business education will need to give more space to teaching about social impacts and humanities concern, in addition to calculation of profits and bottom lines. This also involves educating students to be better prepared for job changes due to technological and societal shifts. In this context, this panel discussion will throw light on vital points of concerns, how business education can be supported for continuity, innovation and new normal. Joining with us today is Professor S. Balakrishnan, Director of Studies, Pondicherry University, who is an erudite researcher and seasoned administrator and is leading our university in academic front with his novel ideas, and his contributions in creating SAMs has become very handy during this lockdown for continuing our academic activity. Second is Professor Chandrasekhar Rao, Dean School of Management, who is known for his innovative ideas in the campus and also chairman of the Institutional Innovation Council. And third, we are having Mr. Kalai Chelvan, Managing Director of Manhattan Group's Pondicherry, who is leading R&D and innovation in his MNC, which got 8 international patents, and he served on the board of CIA Puducherry as vice chairman and chairman, and during his period, he also took all efforts to sign MOU with our university, which is not only in letter but in spirits as well. Because we all know the Garnishing Talent program offered by CIA Pondicherry, and our future business leaders, that is our students, have been getting benefits. And next person with us is Mr. Sajjad Ali, Managing Director of Eaton India Puducherry, who is performance-driven, forward-thinking, hardcore manufacturing professional and a proven business leader with 38 years of his vast experience, is involved with various other activities connected to the industry and educational institutions. Once again, I welcome all the panelists. Now the platform is set for discussion. Now everybody is clear that new normal is not going to be the same. Now each of the panelists will give their perspective on the topic of discussion today by taking 2 to 3 minutes. Then we can take some curated questions for discussion, and which can be followed by few questions from participants. Now I request Professor Balakrishnan, Director of Studies, to give his views.
Thank you, Professor Charumathi, for your kind introduction and also opening the topic of today's panel discussion in a very nice, erudite way. See, today the situation is what the country was facing during the 1990s, when we had the economic liberalization. So during that time, we were at a cross, not recognized anywhere. The higher education is in that mode now. Now, the education institutions that are well prepared, that are prepared to adapt and change, taking these challenges into account, they will flourish, and we will get more students, and we will have a better way of educating them, and the students also, because of the technological shift, as you said, this is going to make a huge difference in the outcomes, learning outcomes of the students. Okay? So that is where we are in now. Now how we are going to change, in what way we can effectively do the teaching learning through using leveraging the technology is a key thing. But now presently we are in a, what we can say, we were forced into this situation suddenly. We were not prepared. We thought, this conventional system of education will continue. So all higher education, most of the higher education institutions in the world, they were not prepared for this sudden thing, which happened. Now, what we have to do, whatever we are doing now is not the correct thing, not the right thing. It's not, I won't say it's not correct thing, it is correct thing, but it is not the optimum or best thing that we can do. Because of the emergency situation, we are doing, like the teaching, learning. What we are doing, we are putting the content, we are using WhatsApp, we are using, whatever available methods we are using, So this is not going to be the way that will be after COVID-19, or I don't think the COVID-19 is going to go away. As many experts are also telling, we have to live with it. If we have to live with it, then we should have a better technological solution for teaching learning, if we have to live with COVID-19. So that is my higher education perspective. I will probably come back a little later after everybody's speaking.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. As rightly said, the higher education system never been affected this way. this survival of the institutions depend hugely on how they are adapting themselves and leveraging technology. Now, I request our Dean, School of Management, Dr. Chandrasekhar Rao, to give out his perspectives.
Okay, right. I'm audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. I just look at today's Hindu editorial also speaks very heavily, has come out with the latest data on how the things are going on in the field. Maybe one step of our director has said, he has referred to some past 1992, where we have started again. I go back to our the days of independence in the year 1947. Just then, the entire world has faced the World War II, and then it is rebuilding the entire world. And then India has got the independence, and we have taken one simple slogan to develop a self-reliance, self-sustainability. So this is where the government of India has taken a basic step. Something similar is happening now. It is also, although this is not a physical war, it is like almost like a World War III, and the Prime Minister of the country also referred it. This of depending upon how the globalization has made many of us to depend upon different other countries' supplies and looking for cheaper manufacturing in China and cheaper services in India. But the day has come today, every country is looking for in-house self-reliance. So in the process, I looked at great future for India, especially with respect to manufacturing, at least for our own internal requirements and the domestic requirements in manufacturing will pick it up again. Although today's Hindu shows the GDP, the industry, IIT data shows that there is a sharp decline to the extent of 16.7% decline during this March data. Government of India itself has come out with the data, and similarly the core sectors, very specifically when they are talking about the capital goods, consumer durables, they have come out with roughly around 20% sharp decline. But I am confident, as the industrialists are also confident, India has been facing this type of problems, but we have a self-confidence and we will revive, and the days to come, the entire education system should be able to rise up to the expectations, and we should be able to give such a manpower which can innovate and invent and sharply make this country to go for self-reliance. So towards this, I look at the management education has to be tuned. Although Government of India in 2019 itself has come out with the new education policy, and the universities also started looking at them. The COVID-19 has given a new challenge. We have to rewrite our entire education system, and we have to, as a teachers, we should also be able to look at redesigning our the pedagogy in such a way that we inspire our young talent, and we inspire and provide the opportunity for them to develop necessary skills required, or the newer skills required for meeting the tomorrow challenges, and take up entrepreneurship, because the Government of India also looking at greater reliance for the MSME sector, and the universities are started already the startup sectors, and it is now time, instead of all the entire MBA students go for working in manufacturing companies or work as an employees. I look at the next generation or next decade management education is towards more of entrepreneurship, and they have to also join their family businesses, or they have to really make India to develop sustainability, because definitely the core sectors are likely to grow, and not many job opportunities are likely to be to our students, provided if they are able to develop next generation skills required for meeting the new technological requirements and new manufacturing requirements. That is how I start looking at this. The management education has to tone up, and the universities in general has to tone up with different types of strategies to reach the students and provide the necessary management skills. I get back to you again.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. And so as you said, only self-reliance is the solution now. And with vocal for local programs and support for innovation and startup by the government will definitely help our students to concentrate on developing new technologies. Thank you, sir, for your views. Businesses can cut costs and evolve new models. And of course, the challenges like digital divide and social distancing ought to be taken into account. And I feel the education has entered 4.0. Like the first version is Gurukul, second version is our university education, and third is distance learning. Now we are entering 4.0 education, 4.0 with the technology mediated education. And for this, both corporate and education institutions should work together to come out with a lot of technologies or the products or the kind of collaboration that can give some solution. We'll look forward to the other panelists. Now, thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Kalaichilvan to give your views.
First of all, I thank Pondicherry University School of Management for inviting me to be a panelist today. I also would like to give a special shout out to all the students out there going through these unprecedented times. I would like to talk about the impact of the COVID situation on businesses and also about the student challenges and opportunities later. From the business perspective, there has been quite an impact in terms of the business processes, services and product offerings. It's never been more pertinent. The impact has been such that the companies have been looking to redefine their all these, the upstream and downstream value chain activities. In terms of business processes, I'm sure you all have seen news on TCS cutting down their workforce drastically, and also 75% of their workforce is going to be working from home. Roughly about 4.5 lakh employees, 3.3 lakhs employees are going to be working from home. Look at the impact it's going to have on the building rentals, administration costs, transportation costs, fuel costs, canteen costs. So clearly the company is looking to save and conserve cash and setting the tone for other industries to follow if this model works fine. We have also been hearing about airlines trying to fly half the capacity due to social distancing. I don't know if it will be viable for airlines to continue to do so. How is it going to impact flying in future? Probably will travel by bus and by land. It's going to take off like for those days. So that is we have to wait and see for such kind of change in the way we travel. And some of the companies are talking about operating from home. We all have been seeing that thereby trying to avoid office space, travel costs thereby, and to find out if that could be done by staying at home, work more efficiently. Export, I would also want to talk about many companies that are exporting, and what about those exports team? Generally, traditionally the team travels abroad to show the products, to sell the products, to participate in exhibitions and things like that. But now, flying abroad might take at least about 3 to 6 months, leave alone the stigma that is attached to it, but even the viability of the flights. Not as many flights as that were before are going to be available today for people to fly. So what happens to the export possibilities of which we have been currently doing? And conferences, online conferences are going to be the norm in the future, and you're not even going to shake hands when you meet business people. When you go out and trying to make business meetings, you're not going to shake hands. And so right from that point onwards, the way we conduct business is going to completely change. This is what we foresee. And in terms of products, we're talking about a new demand in terms of health sector, indigenous testing kits and so on, and a big spurt in activity in terms of facility management for companies. There are a lot of companies that come and maintain facilities, so there is a huge demand for such kind of companies. And in the service industry, we all or we don't know what's going to be their future. Hotel industry, speaking of malls, when are they going to open, and how many people are going to really go to malls in the future? Restaurants, salons, dentists, where all, it's all going to be, where there's going to be human contact. So the way they do businesses, the way they practice their professions, everything is going to go through a change. It's not that as easy as we were thinking. Specifically in my industry, which is automotive, pre-COVID was about, we of 2% industry as well. The situation during 2018 was, the industry was in peak. In 2019, we had various challenges in the form of BS4 to BS6 transition, and shared mobility started to take shape, leading to companies downsizing their operations or posing threat basically to automobile sales. Axle loading norms were increased by 20%, and third-party insurance for the entire vehicle was mandated. So these were the roadblocks that the industry saw during 2019, as a result of which we saw dwindling volumes. So as such, before COVID, the industry was more or less in recession, and COVID situation has in fact worsened the whole situation. Now we are all starting to look at the post-COVID strategies, like how anti-China sentiments is going to bring some of the companies here, or how are we going to become self-reliant by internalizing some of the supply chain activities which we were traditionally outsourcing to China. Plus leveraging the technology is going to be another norm on the future, like how are we going to embrace electrical vehicle future. Automotive companies like Hyundai have started designing ventilators, which is in the health sector. So we see a complete product offering change itself by some of the even leading companies. So still we want to be optimistic in the future. Some of the areas in automotive industry where we see is fleet size conflict, because today the companies are engaging more than double the amount of fleet to transport their employees compared to the previous situation, because they could hardly occupy 40 or 50% of the original seating capacity. Plus the masses risk aversion towards mass transit might lead individuals to go for purchase of their own cars. So these signs are optimistic from the automotive industry perspective. Going forward, I would also want to talk about the future changes in industry, Doctor. When of course,
we will come back again, sir, with questions, and I thank Dr. Kalaiselvan for.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Professor. You set the tone very well. Invoking upon the VUCA world, right? So in the whole VUCA world today, in my opinion, this COVID-19 has emphasized more on the U and A, right? U being the uncertainty, and A being the ambiguity. So nobody knows as to where it is going to stop and how it is going to conclude. But what is sure is that end of this COVID, certainly the businesses are not going to emerge in the same form as they were. Some businesses may re-emerge, some may re-emerge with a different form, some may not be there at all. What is going to certainly happen is that, yes, this kind of crisis teaches some new things, and new learnings are, definitely there. And in my opinion, what we can straight away say is that whichever can be digitized need to get digitized going forward, whether we like it or not. That is possible, because when I talk in the industry context, just in the last 40-50 days of lockdown, the kind of webinars we were able to conduct, the kind of customers we were able to touch, the kind of product trainings we were able to give, they were all mind-boggling. Had it not been this kind of an innovative approach, we would have spent lakhs and lakhs of rupees doing the same thing in 5-star hotels, doing the same thing in flying across the countries, spending so much. But then, today I am seeing, close to around 2,400 customers we were able to touch base. Close to around 20,500 of training we were able to impart. I am sure that, the effectiveness of these things will certainly be there. If not 100%, the conventional methods, close to 90-95% effectiveness is still there. So these kind of things are going to stay. And when we also talk about the crisis creating a lot of innovations, and very rightly the directions being given by the Prime Minister of India, that we need to really revisit all our supply chain decisions. We need to revisit all our dependency, whether in terms of geography or whether in terms of one business house or whether in terms of one segment. All these things are going to be challenged. No status quo is going to be maintained in many of the business contexts. But that said, this forum particularly being on the educational side, I may not have the full knowledge to talk on that, but from the industry perspective, I can really see that the products out of this particular period now is going to come out of the institutions with a different mindset. I'm aware as to what will be the impact of this kind of online education across the country, because we have got varying different levels of connectivity, different levels of bandwidth. The students in the urban area will have access to all the the connectivity to bandwidth and all that. That may not be the case with the rural side. Yes, there is going to be some short-term impact. That short-term impact is going to be managing through this kind of online programs, online courses, connectivities and all that. But in the long term, while the online approach will continue to be there with a higher degree of scale, still I don't think the conventional methods can completely go off. Because even today, at this point in time, I will still remember my maths teacher writing on the board using the chalk piece, and that is still there. That will come to our mind when we talk about how he starts the first step, how he goes to the final step, making the equations finally proved. That cannot be certainly replaced through the online education, in my opinion. So end of the day, there is going to be a blend of this conventional modes and also the online improvised modes. That is how we need to coin the future. And I am sure the students which are just completing their curriculum at this point in time, they have got a huge learning through this particular stuff, because these kind of learnings come once in a century, right? So I would say more than a problem, this set of people are really gifted to see the worst possible scenarios where you cannot get out of your house, where you cannot go and meet a person and still you need to survive. This is a different learning. This is a different challenge. And these people are going to really show the way for the whole humanity, to the industry, to the education going forward. That's my opening note.